Paul, ready?
We're doing.
Good, good. Hi, Paul. So, how are you feeling 3 days after one of the best arm wrestling events and going up against one of the greats in the 95 kg weight class in
Good,
Rustam
man.
Babayev?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Everything's good and healthy. Elbows in good shape. So, yeah. Obviously not the outcome. We all strive to win, but I learned an absolute ton. I really wish we would have had that match the first time, because then I would have had a year to learn and sharpen my tools. So it's a beautiful learning experience. I took so much away from it. So I feel very good.
Yeah, anytime you go up against one of the best, you learn a lot from it, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's all what you choose to do with the information that you're given. And I'm going to make the most of mine.
Yeah. No extensive recovery process that you have to go through, or you ready or thinking about going back to training now?
I've been back to training past two
Oh,
days. So, yeah,
that's
yeah. I had like a 3 week layoff before this. This is the longest amount of time I took off. Got a PRP injection in my elbow 3 weeks out from this to try and really shore that up because I was having some pain in it. But it healed it up. I had no elbow pains on the day. So I've been anxious and chomping at the bit to get back after it. So it's been good these past couple of days.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. To awesome. So I want to make this video just for the match itself, but before we get into the match specifically, East versus Web 14 was amazing. It appears to be one of the best ever in North America events of arm wrestling.
The
So,
best, the
so I'm
best.
curious, what was the atmosphere like from your perspective, being there as a fan and one of the pullers competing on that Saturday?
So for me, I mean, I've only been involved in arm wrestling for 7 years. So for me, that was by far the best environment, bar none. Like prior to that, I had the WIL experience and everything. And I've been to Istanbul. I was in Istanbul and Devonport, Milan, which was the most spectators I think that I've ever seen at an arm wrestling event and best energy. And this took it those moments, like when you talk about Levon and Devin, the first round where Devin got the stop, the place erupted in Istanbul. Um, in Orlando, that happened about 25 times. It happened.
Wow.
It was like a constant rolling energy that just really never stopped for like 6 hours. And don't get me wrong, that venue, the air conditioning died on us. It was about 92 degrees in there. Everybody's dripping sweat and nobody's complaining. Everybody's on the edge of their seat. USA chants and all that stuff. It was just constant from start to finish. There was absolutely nothing like it. And being that I've only been in the sport for 7 years, I went and talked to guys like Bob Brown and Craig Touye and the guys that have been doing this for quite some time, even some of the legends like Cobra, and all of them confirm there has been no event anywhere that matches anything like that. So it was absolutely incredible.
And we can feel that through the screen. I
Mm-hmm.
was standing, most of the match I was standing up, like trying to
Yeah,
cheer on the North Americans
yeah,
pullers. And yeah, I could feel the intensity, what it's like in the room. And it's not just being there. I think everyone that's watching from home can feel, the what it's like to be there,
yeah.
which was amazing.
Well, it's one of those things too. Like, and I rewatched it, and the camera crew did a great job of panning to the audience at times and things, but I'm telling you, there is nothing that matches. So, like, I've been to every type of sporting event that there is in the United States: basketball, baseball, football, the fight sports. The fight sports to me are the most entertaining. They're the most edge of your seats. Boxing, UFC. This had that exact same feel, except for the energy was so consistent throughout the time. It was unbelievable. It's really proof in the pudding that when it comes to spectatorship, like North America brings just a different vibe, I think, culturally and everything. And the beauty of it too was it's not that just the North Americans were being cheered for or welcomed. The Eastern European athletes were cheered for and welcomed very well also. So it wasn't any type of toxic environment or anything weird. It was great.
Yeah, we can feel that through the screen. It was, even though it's called East versus West. It's really an event where everyone was enjoying the event. It's a competition, but at the
Hmm.
same time, it's also uh, almost like a celebration or something.
Yeah.
It's quite chaotic, especially in the middle of all those many matches.
Hmm.
Yeah. Also, now let's get into your match itself. Even though the score was 3-0, it was
Hmm.
one of the most entertaining match of the event, in my opinion. And after rewatching the match a couple of times, one of my takeaways is that the match is actually closer than what the score says. And I'll explain why. And the way I see it is if you look at the first round and compare it to the third round, there is a significant difference in Rustam power. I don't know if you could feel that as a competitor, but Rustam was able to hit in the third round in the same way as he can in the first round. So I believe if there were one more round in that match, the tide could have turned in your favor. Do you believe you could have bled him out in the
So
match? And if you have had a better endurance that day?
so let's start at the beginning. At this level, most 3-0 matches, regardless of the optics, are way closer than the general public thinks that they are. We're talking about a percent, half a percent, things like that. Really, and whenever you see any 3-0 match that was contested in any way, it is a razor's edge close. And I'm not even referring to mine specifically. I think that's just a common thing, a common misconception. A lot of people, fans will look at matches and they'll use words like destroyed and crushed and things like that.
Mm.
And a lot of times that's really not the case. So this match specifically, so valuable to me for my growth, not because I think the better man didn't win. Rustam was the better man. And I don't think, honestly, any number of adjustments that I would have made, even if I arm wrestled the perfect match, I probably still might not win that match. He was the better man on the day, definitely better defensive holding power and just better overall, experience. And I don't, to me, I give him all the credit in the world. I came in with a much better game plan than the first time. But then I fell back into some of my old mistakes that I continually make. Number one, being impatient. I feel really good right now, and I felt really good coming into this match with my center table stability, meaning like that 10 to 2, my 10 to 2 side pressure feels really, really good. And a lot of times when I feel good there, I commit to a pin maybe too early. And because of my style of arm wrestling going 0 to 60, um, I fall victim to myself at times where I overcommit and I hit so hard that I open my own arm. And what I've learned over time is when I commit and hit like that and I'm able to get a pin, a lot of times that'll take more out of my opponent than it takes out of me. But when I get stopped, it takes more out of me than it takes out of my opponent.
Yeah.
And I made those mistakes that I know that I made. And the other piece of it really was just a couple setup things and adjustments in the setup that I didn't listen to my corner until the third
Mm.
round because it comes down to comfort zone.
Yeah.
I'm a drag hooker. I'm a drag hooker that applies downward rotation.
Mm.
And when I get stopped there, I usually try to do the same thing only harder. The third round, the difference was the setup was similar, but rather than hitting down, it was more of a punch uppercut.
Yeah.
Rather than getting wrist to wrist, I'm getting forearm to forearm. That's not something that I'm really comfortable with. So in the moment, finally in the third round, I trusted my corner. And when I shot in there and my
Yeah.
arm didn't move and surge, and I felt better and I felt like he was stretching, I was like, oh, okay, now's my chance to pin. And I jumped the gun one more time. You know, I probably should have been more patient and sat there defensively. But what I learned, big takeaways are that I need to get better and more comfortable in that defensive center table position. I need to trust my endurance and I need to trust my frame to hold rather than just to surge. So huge takeaways for me in my growth, I think. And then I also learned that if I'm going to commit like that, I absolutely have to increase my rotational down pressure and general straight structural side pressure. Because if I can't pin in a drag, I may have to pin in direct side pressure through a joint. So huge learning experience for me. I mean, I talked to Rustam quite a bit after the match. You know, I thanked him like he's such a sweetheart. His whole
Yeah.
family's so awesome. And I genuinely thank him for that lesson learned, you know, and people have already asking me like, well, is this going to be a trilogy match? And I said, to be honest, I don't think I deserve a rematch anytime soon. I need to earn that.
Mm.
You know, he had a decisive 3-0 win. My win came in the form of injury, which I don't accept at all.
Yeah.
So I would love to do that again, but I'm not in a rush for it. I'd like to earn it and deserve it.
Yeah, we get into that in a little bit. Yeah, it's great insights into, what's going on in the match and what you think you could do better next time. And that's really something that I think everyone can learn from, right? Really be open
Well,
to.
it's like that's why I said I would have loved to have that match happen the first time we met, because now I would have had a year to work on these things. When
Yeah.
you win and you win in such a weird fashion like I did, there wasn't a whole lot of data to take back other than, hey, look, buddy, you can't top roll elite hookers, so stop trying to do it, you know? And that's not anything I could go work on per se. It was just more like a lesson in don't do that. You know what I mean?
Mm, yeah.
So to me, this is it's super awesome now because I can go directly straight back to training with a couple new focus areas.
Yeah, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Now, this one may be a little bit controversial. I know your perspective. You're very humble and very for that. But and it's about the second round of the match
Mm-hmm.
from the fans' perspective. I wasn't sure what exactly happened that led to
Yeah.
the 2-0 score for
I
Rustam
can,
because there was no pins in that second round, right? I
yeah.
thought I thought the ref gave a foul to Rustam because he pushed you. It appears that he pushed you off the pad.
Yeah.
Now, could you clarify what exactly happened and what did the
Sure.
ref say to you?
Sure. So originally, when I went back to my corner, I was under the assumption that that was the foul, either me off of the back or him driving back, which I immediately said, like he drove me off the back, but I'd be willing to accept the foul one way or another, because it was before the pin. I think his corner lobbied for a foul in the losing position.
Yeah, that's what
Um,
I
yes.
thought.
And at that point, I said, are you kidding me? He drove me off the back. And the reason I said that is because I'm arm wrestling and I felt what I felt. And
Yeah.
I also, if you look at the video, I came right up and smiled at him and I said, you slick. And he winked at me. So, like, I know what I know.
I saw that. I
And
saw that. It's clear. It's clear.
yeah,
And I'm
no,
like,
I
hey,
don't.
that's gotta be a foul.
Yeah, and Angan told me he doesn't agree with that, and I said I'm totally fine with that. I said that's why I didn't fight it. That's why I didn't. I'm not the type of guy that believes that one call is going to have like
Mm,
in sports and in football, you can't let the referees control your outcome. Like there's going to be weird calls and things, but if you allow yourself to point at a reason and say I was robbed, to me that's a mentally weak thing to do. And I
mm,
said in the moment to the referee, like I said, look, I know what I know. I don't really care. Let's just run it. You know what I mean? But I know he did. So let's just move forward. I'm not going to argue. So I don't know. Does that have an outcome on a match? Maybe. I would have loved to have that start again. I would have loved to go back to that center where I'm comfortable and not
yeah.
be. And listen, at the end of the day, I'm not a King's mover and I wound up in some weird open hook desperation spot. So as far as I'm concerned, he was going to pin me anyway. And if he hadn't have driven me off the back, he probably would have pinned me in the next 3 seconds. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't really have mattered. But I would have
Yeah.
loved to run that round back.
Yeah. I mean, we fought it for every advantage, every inch, every millimeter, every energy that we could get, right? So, but I understand where you're coming from, but it was something that I haven't really,
Yeah,
seen.
no, yeah.
So
That's what happened. And I mean, I think we saw. I forget what other match. What other match did we see somebody driven off? There was one where it was really clear though. Was it Chance and Devin? It was Chance and Devin.
yeah,
And
that's
Chance,
very obvious. It's
Yeah, and
obvious.
that happened. That happened. What the one or two matches before mine? Mine wasn't as obvious. Who knows? Whatever.
Yeah.
But that does happen. I've had that happen to me. Ron Bath did it to me twice, and we
Oh, I
chuckled about it
see.
in the moment,
Yeah.
but it happens. It
Yeah.
happens,
Now,
especially because I drag and I flirt with the back corner all the time. So when I'm doing that, sometimes if somebody's savvy, all they got to do is slide forward.
yeah, yeah. And you talked about your style of pulling, right? You hook pulling. Um, I'm just curious, like in your training, are you doing different things now in order to get better, or are you just honing into just your hooking ability and change out something there, or are you trying to become something different, more rounded person where you can top roll, can
So
pull, you talked about.
I desperately do not want to be one dimensional. I started out as a one dimensional posting top roll. I spent the first 4 years of my career as a one dimensional, fast, hard hitting posting top roller with a defensive top roll. I had a posting offensive top roll and a defensive top roll, and that was essentially it.
Mm,
And I wasn't confident in my hook. And it wasn't until about 4 years in that I realized, okay, I might be better in the hook. And for that, those next 2, 3 years, I was very balanced. And in tournaments, I would take the path of least resistance on my opponents. As I got to this upper echelon, I've realized that my ability to compete at the elite level is much swayed towards the hook pulling. My ability to turn top rollers or contain top rollers, and my ability to beat people who want to go inside because I can usually get there deeper and faster, has made me, in preparation for so many inside matches, has kind of pushed me to be a little bit more one dimensional. The flip side is I have developed a lot more cupping and finger containment strength,
mm.
but I have neglected direct hammer curl back pressure. And like if I was to say my pure top roll, my posting rising top roll is not as good as it was 2 years ago, but it's still there. And the plan moving forward is to continue versatility.
Yeah, I mean, we only have so much energy, right? So much time to train everything. So if we could really focus on, well, try to cover everything, but maybe uh, try to, you know, just focus on the thing that you're good at most of the
Yeah,
time. I think it's gonna benefit most people, right? Just
sure.
honing on to what you're good at, and then from there you can kind of work around it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how things have kind of shifted. I think my post top roll has kind of become a little bit more lacking, but my low hand got a little bit better just because the low hand can be used against hook pullers. And I've been pulling so many of them that I'll take a slight low hand setup with back pressure, still winds up in a hook, but a higher one. So it's a lot of times I think our development is based off of the opponents that we receive sometimes.
Yeah,
Because
that,
when you're getting
yeah.
ready, when you're taking an 8 week or a 10 week camp and you're preparing for one match with singular focus, it forces you to. You only got so many reps you can do in a day, and you got to pick and choose where you're putting.
Yeah, that makes sense totally. So one of the okay, so officially you're 1-1 against Rustam. Uh, do you believe you will end up pulling him again, whether for the title or for a contender match? And if yes, without giving away your game plan or secrets,
I,
what you do differently to finally have a winning record against him?
well, I think I believe that Rustam currently is the person with the best chance to beat Irakli first in the 95.
Mm,
Unless Hutchings comes down, I think Rustam stands the best chance stylistically and with his ability level. And I think that he has progressed since the time that he pulled Irakli. I would love to see Rustam pull Irakli in the next 2 or 3 matches
mm.
and see if he potentially, gets that belt. Maybe I can win one or two, and a year and a half from now, maybe we could run it back. But that's just hypothetical.
Yeah,
What would I do to improve my chances? Well, I'd learn from everything from this match, and I'd
yeah,
focus heavily on those things
yeah,
to prepare myself. I think really. he kind of gave me the keys in this match. So it's up to me what I do with them.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the ranking right now for the 95 kg division. Obviously, Irakli is the champ. Second is Sasho, followed by Rustam, who's third, who just moved up ahead of you. Are you willing to give other guys below you a chance to climb the ladder, or would you prefer pulling someone ahead of you?
I honestly, I don't even give any thought to that. Like they offer me the matches, I say yes every time, So
Yeah.
I don't turn anything down. So to me, like, on the East versus West King of the Table stage, getting a win on anybody who they give you is whether it moves you up in the rankings or not. I'm not really worried about the rankings. I'm just
Mm.
worried about getting the next win, you know,
Yeah.
because you're really only as good as what you did last match.
Yeah.
So I mean I'm open to pull in 105 matches, whatever makes sense to King of the Table,
Yeah.
or or East versus West. I'm down for it. So I'm not in a hurry. Like I believe I haven't reached my peak yet. I think I have a good 7 to 10 more years before I get where I can get. So I'm not rushing it. I really enjoy the process. I really enjoy, the preparation, the try. Now we have these events coming in the United States, super exciting. I want to take part in as many of them as possible. So to me, a match is a match, and I'll take whoever.
Yeah, I agree. You're gonna get better. I feel like even though you're at the top right now, one of the top guys, you can still improve a lot. I think,
Well, there's like
a
really
lot
cool
of training
matchups out
commitment.
there too that I never thought that I would even be considering myself in. That
Mm.
like got guys like Krasny, like that match has become kind of like, to me, would just be cool to do. Like
Mm.
I have so much respect for the guy. I would love to do a match like that. You got guys like Petro Margarin that are coming in, and he's in between that 105 95. Like there's just a lot of cool crossover matches that could happen too,
Yeah.
that I think would just be awesome. Maybe they don't move me up in the rankings, but it won't shift me down either. So
Mm.
I'm good with whatever comes next, and I'm just really enjoying the whole thing.
Yeah.
So
It's
whatever the next one
always
is,
fun, right?
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be happy and excited for it.
Yeah. As a competitor, it must feel so good. I know as a fan watching it, it gives me a lot of, adrenaline too, like a lot of joy, and it's a fun time every time, an
Yeah.
event like that is happening. I know
Well,
you don't, yeah,
we talk about it, man, because like Michael Todd and I have talked quite a bit about, like, the embracing the suck of like having like a 10-week camp and like thinking about this match and preparing for it and anxiety about your lifts and your next training and just like all the details, and they all suck
yeah,
until you get to that 20 minutes before the event and then the 20 minutes of the match. And then
mm,
those 40 minutes make up for every ounce of anxiety and stress and time away from your family. It's there's nothing there's nothing like it.
yeah. Last time I remember you have your family with you at the when you were competing at the King of the Table, right?
Mm-hmm.
Were they with you this time? This
Yeah,
past
yeah,
weekend?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Orlando,
Okay,
that's a 2 hour flight. Yeah. My
yeah.
son was there the whole time sitting, front stage. He threw his moment of the event was, Devin was talking all that trash about gummy bears. And I always get gummy bears to recover from my cut. So I had like a 5 pound bag of gummy bears with me in my bag, and I pulled them out. And Devin was talking all that gummy bear stuff. And I guess mid-match, my son's throwing gummy bears at Devin, and Devin turns around and gets in his face, says, "Don't F with me, boy." And he calls me up. He's like, "Devin just said the F word to me."
That
We
was
love
funny.
it. We love it. Yeah, we love it.
And so
So,
you boys are a football player, right? Football
yep.
player.
Hmm.
Season's coming up, and how's he doing?
Yeah,
Uh,
we're in season right now. He just
yeah,
had a scrimmage with the pony team, the older team. We just
yeah.
got back from that today. It's awesome. It's awesome. I'm
And you're
living
the
my
coach.
Well, I'm helping. I've been roped in to help. I coach varsity, high school varsity. So
Yeah,
our high school team practices exactly 2 miles away.
yeah.
And I get done around 6:30, 7 o'clock, and he practices till 8. So I come for like the second half of practice and yell at everybody.
Yeah.
but I'm not officially a coach, and nor do I want to be.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's nice to be
Well,
able to catch part of practice every day.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so I don't want to, just one more thing. I know you don't care about who's your next opponent is. I have some names here, people who are below you, I think. Um, in terms of stylistic matchup, who do you think is better for you? Um, so we have, I don't know if Batch was in the division. Batcho, I saw him in the division. Adam, I don't know how to pronounce the last name, but it's Adam.
Warzinski,
Yeah,
Adam Warzinski. He's been
and
Adam's another guy from the United States. I don't want to pull Adam. He's a teammate, and he's also competing at the 85 class. He walks
right.
at 95, but that would be him competing with no cut. And nah, that wouldn't be a match that I would want.
Yeah. Uh, I know you don't have a preference, but is there anyone in your mind that you think it might be a good next opponent for you?
I love the idea of pulling Krasny because I think he's awesome. And
Crazy.
it's kind of a bucket list thing for me, but that's not like a match I would call out. Like, I don't think
No.
either of us necessarily stand anything to gain other than potentially a really entertaining match and a
Yeah.
good stylistic match. Like, we're gonna, neither of us is probably, I think we both have the potential to try and top roll each other. But I think being that we're both meatheads about hooking, we'd probably just do it 3 times, which might make for a really entertaining match. I think Petro Margaret would be somebody like that too,
Yeah.
where we'd probably meet in the middle. Um, Other than that, I mean, those are just the ones to me that sound fun. But I know that there's a bunch of other people out there. And again, I'm not opposed to doing a catch weight or something like that too.
Yeah.
So I just don't want to move to the 105 class. My home is 95,
Yeah.
but I'm not opposed to doing those low stress, no weight cut matches. I just have a hard time getting to that 232. My body doesn't want to be there. I got a 4 speed and I feel fat and bloated. But I can come in at like 227, 228, feel good.
Yeah, I love those kind of matches, those fun matches, you know. Yeah, I would love to see you with, I guess, Krazy as well. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to that for the next one. Um, anyways, Paul, I don't want to keep you too long, but yeah, I appreciate your time coming on. Always, a great time talking to you, learning from you as well. Well, I'm learning a lot whenever you talk to me, so thank you for that. Um, and thanks again, thanks for your time, and hopefully, we get the news soon for the next one for you. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking forward to that.
I think we just got to figure out like, where for sure is the next King of Table going to be in December, and then
Yeah.
where for sure is East versus West 16 going to be, because talking to Engen, there's a lot of options. Some of them potentially in the West, and then some of them in new places in the East. It
Oh, I
sounds,
saw the post. See, not
yeah.
unofficial something that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I mean,
exciting.
right now Angan is looking all over the world, which is
Yeah,
really dope. So,
yeah,
like, I think a lot of people don't really understand, and they assume that this league is like making all this money.
yeah,
But the reality of it is, Angan is really just rolling any profits if he makes profit, he
yeah,
rolls it into future events. So the league hasn't really become self-sustainable yet. But really, with this last event, it proves that, like, hey, we can in the West, we can get 2,000, 3,000 spectators, and we can make an awesome production. And hopefully, in the future here, we start garnering some bigger sponsors, because Angan's really doing this with very, very little sponsorship. It's just all money rolled over from previous events. So a lot of times that overhead, no idea if it's going to get covered or not. And sometimes it doesn't.
mm,
So moving forward, I'm hoping that this last East versus West really catapults us into like the mainstream sponsorship market, where I would love to see one of these events get a true title sponsor. Like, that would be awesome and cover the whole overhead. I think if we could land something like that, and I think really having a couple more of these awesome spectator filled events is hopefully going to push us in that right direction. But I know Angan is looking all over the world. It's not just North America that he's looking to hold these events. He's looking to break into new countries and new markets.
yeah, yeah. It's very exciting. Very exciting.
Yes,
I can't. I'm always looking for the next one. So, okay, all right, Paul. Again, appreciate your time coming on. Yeah, I hope the next one um get back to the winning record and climb the ladder. Right. All right.
absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. Guys, if you listened this long, again, please get this guy a like and a subscription and
Yeah. It's
share his videos. Help grow his channel. The guy has nothing but positive energy.
yeah. It's been 30 minutes, and I feel like the the time just flew by. But
Yeah, it
yeah,
does.
yeah.
When you
I
start
thought it was gonna be
running,
like 10 minutes. It's 30 minutes. All right, Paul. Nice talking to you again, and
yes,
I'll
sir.
see you then,
Take
eh?
care.
Bye.